And former Nigerian President General Olusegun Obasanjo has blamed poor leadership and bad governance for the woes of the African continent. According to the former Nigerian head of state, all the citizens of Africa are in bad shape and question why the blame is put on colonialism and slave trade. He was speaking at the 15th African Youth and Governance Conference in Mankasim in the Central Region.
The reason or cause for the situation we are in is simply, let us put it as it is simply leadership and governance. We are in bad shape. We are in bad situation because leadership and governance in our different countries, in our sub-region, and indeed in our region of Africa has not been what it should be. We may go far back and blame, if you like, the colonial power. Go and blame, if you like, slave trade. But those who brought those things on us knew what they were doing.
You heard the voice of former Nigerian head of state Olusegun Obasanjo speaking at the 15th African Youth and Governance Convergence at Mankasim in the Central Region. Meanwhile, senior history and political studies lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Samuel Odujemfi, says Africa must come back to the peer review program.
It's essential that we come back to the discussions on peer review because the typical African leaders we've had at least the past 20 years or so have not really been able to give us the kind of leadership that we need as Africans. In fact, even in the Ghanaian context, I believe that we are in a leadership crisis.
Professor Samuel Odujemfi speaking there. To some education stories, and the National Labour Commission, the NLC, and the College of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, SETAC, they are set to meet today over the latter's service conditions. Now, SETAC has been on strike for 3 straight weeks with no intention to call off the strike. An earlier meeting with the NLC was cancelled last week upon a request by SETAC. Speaking to 3FM, however, National President of SETAC, Prince Obinghema, said the NLC had always demonstrated bias towards the members.
Even though we suspect that we are not going to have fair hearing, against the backdrop that we've had the National Labour Commission Executive Secretary going out there saying that our strike is illegal and that the government and our employer has the right to punish us and all of that, when indeed it's a complete prejudicial statement. All these things notwithstanding, we have a crack team. We trust our team, legal and labor team. We are going in there confidently to tell our story. Whatever it is that come out, we are confident that we should be able to make the best out of it for our members.
Still on issues concerning labour, the Trades Union Congress has cautioned government against proposing cost of living allowance during the next salary negotiations. According to the Deputy Secretary General Joshua Ansah, the reintroduction of COLA will impact negatively on pension contributions and reduce the purchasing power of workers, who is addressing the 22nd affiliate unions of the TUC in Accra.
But in case government should propose COLA again, will you take it?
I don't think it will be wise for us to go for COLA because COLA does not affect our pensions, doesn't affect our ends. So we think that it's better for us to actually go straight to the negotiations and get what is due us. We cautioned government when they wanted to go to the IMF on this. And I remember I made a statement that if the government still want to go to the IMF, we want to caution the government that their decisions and their conditions should not affect our minimum wage discussions in this very country. And I think we could still stand by that one.
You heard the voice of the Deputy Secretary General of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, speaking there. To some other stories this morning, 9 victims in the Wa serial defilement case have been giving testimony before the judge on the first day of the hearing. The case, which was not open to the public, stretched for over 2 hours on Tuesday. This more in this report.
Ahmed Rashid, aka Anata, is charged with 18 counts of defilement, attempted defilement and indecent assault. On Tuesday, August 15, he was to meet several of the victims for the first time because a hearing started behind closed doors. 9 of the survivors appeared to testify against him during the more than 2 hours of closed-door court hearings. The accused became sober upon seeing the victims and dropped his head, unwilling to face them directly. As the case progressed, the judge had to repeatedly tell him to maintain his posture. More victims are scheduled to testify on Wednesday, August 16, which increases the likelihood that the hearing will be over in a record month, according to the prosecution led by the Chief State Attorney Said Shakor.
It's also important, and the law actually mandates us to protect their identity, to try and rehabilitate them in a sort. So we are taking every step that is necessary to secure witnesses. But the witnesses were quite graphic, and you wouldn't believe they were children. They told the story in a very, very consistent, very coherent manner. We want to make sure that all the children that are involved, we are able to take all that testimony before we bring in the technical people like the investigator, the medical doctor, to come and testify.
And that's how we wrap up on the morning news here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. Please log on for more. Up next, a sunrise. Good morning.